Let's stand up both. Let's stand side by side. You're 22 years old and I'm almost twice that. Doctor, tell me which one of us is more youthful? You are, of course. See, you know why? Because I work, I feel, and I'm always running around, and you always sit in the same spot. You don't live. And I have a rule: never look into the future. I never think about old age or death. You can't escape the inevitable. And I feel like I was born ages ago, and have been dragging my life behind me like an endless train. And often I have no desire to live at all. Of course, that's all nonsense. I must cheer up and shake it off. Tell her my flowers. And then I am as proper as an Englishman. My dear, I keep myself in hand, as they say. I am well dressed and always coiffed comme il faut. Would I ever allow myself to walk out of the house, even if only into the garden, in a smock or with my hair all messy? Never. I've kept my looks precisely because I have never been a ragbag, and I have never let myself go like others. Here, see, like a sparrow, ready to play a 15-year-old girl. Well, nonetheless, I'm continuing anyway. We've stopped at the grain dealer and the rats. And the rats, go on. Actually, no, give it to me. I will read. It's my turn. And the rats. Ah, here it is. Of course, it is as dangerous for high society to lavish attention on writers and draw them in as it would be for grain dealers to raise rats in their granaries, and yet they love them also. And so, when a woman singles out a writer whom she wants to captivate, she plies with him compliments, kindness, and favors. Well, this may be true for the French, but we have nothing like that. There are no agendas here. Here, please. A woman is already head over heels in love with a writer before captivating him. You don't need to search far, just take me in Triggering. Really. We have good news? We are cheerful today after all? We have good news. The father and stepmother went to Tver, and we are freed for 3 whole days. I am happy. I am all yours now. She is pretty today. Well dressed and pretty. That's a good girl. But we shouldn't give her too much praise, lest we put an evil eye on her. Where is Boris Alexeyevich? He's in the swimming area, fishing. Amazing how he never gets tired of it. What is it? On the water by Maupassant, darling. But the rest is boring and not true. My heart is restless. Tell me, what's the matter with my son? Why is he so humorless and stern? Spends days on the lake and I hardly ever see him. He is heartsick. Please read something from his play. You really want me to? It's not interesting. When he recites something himself, his eyes burn and his face turns pale. He has a beautiful, sad voice and the manner of a poet. Good night. Petrusha, eh? Are you sleeping? Not in the least. You aren't taking any cures, my dear brother, and that's not good. I would love to take the cure, but the doctor here doesn't want me to. Taking cures at 60. I want to live, even at 60. Yeah, take sedative drops then. I think it would be good for him to go to take the waters. Well, he could go, or he could not go. Go figure. There's nothing to figure out. It's quite clear. Fyodor Nikolaevich ought to quit smoking. That's nothing. No, not nothing. Wine and tobacco rob you of your personality. After a cigar or a shot of vodka, you're no longer Mr. Sorn, but Mr. Sorn plus somebody else. Your I fades. You begin to treat yourself in the third person he. It's easy for you to talk like that. You've lived a good life, and me? I served in the court system for 28 years, but I haven't lived. I haven't experienced anything after all. Obviously, I want very much to live. You've had your fill and you don't care. That's why you are bent on philosophy. Whereas, I want to live, and that's why I drink, share it, and dinner, and smoke cigars, and all that. That's all. You have to take life seriously, but forgive me, taking cures at 60 or regretting that you did not experience more pleasure in your youth, forgive me, that's foolish. I must be in time for lunch. My foot's asleep. She'll go down in a couple of shots before lunch. The poor girl is unhappy. Oh, idle talk, Your Excellency. You talk like someone who has had his fill. What can be more boring than this endearing country boredom? It's hot, quiet, and nobody's doing anything, only philosophizing. It's nice sitting and listening to you here, my friends, but sitting in a hotel room memorizing lines, so much better. Yes, it is. I agree with you. Of course, it's better in the city. You sit in your office, the footman doesn't let anyone in unannounced, a telephone, outside is cabs and all. Tell her my flowers. Hello, they are. Hello. I'm delighted to see you in fine form. My wife tells me that the two of you are going to go into town today. Is that true? Yes, we're planning to. That's just splendid. But how are you getting there, my esteemed lady? They're hauling rye today, and all the laborers are busy. And what horses, may I ask? What horses? How would I know what horses? We have carriage horses. Carriage horses. And where will I get the harnesses for them? Where will I get the harnesses? Now, this is incredible. It's astonishing. My venerated lady, I have profound respect for your talent and would give 10 years of my life for you, but I can't give you the horses. But if I must go, this is very strange. My dearest lady, you don't know what it means to run a farmstead. That's the same old story in this case. I'm leaving for Moscow this very day. Hire the horses from the village for me, or I will walk to the station. In this case, I resign my position. Go look for another manager. Every summer they insult me here. I will not set foot in here again. Such insolence. This is God knows what. I'm fed up with it after all. Bring all the horses here immediately. To refuse Irina Nikolaevna, the famous actress, isn't her every wish, every fancy more important than running your farmstead? It's unbelievable. What can I do? Put yourself in my place. What can I do? Let's go see my sister. We'll all beg her not to leave. Won't we? He's insufferable, a despot. Sit, sit. We'll wheel you. Oh, that's just awful. Yes, that's just awful. But he won't leave. I'll have a word with him right now. People are tedious. Essentially, they should have kicked your husband out of here. But it will all end with this old woman, Soren, and his sister apologizing to him. You'll see. He sent even carriage horses into the field. Every day mix-ups like that. You only knew how it upsets me. I'm taking ill. See? I'm trembling all over. I cannot take his rudeness. Evgeny, my dear, my darling, take me with you. Our time is slipping away. We are not young anymore, and at least at the end of our lives to stop hiding and lying. I'm 55 years old. It's too late to change my life. I know you say to me because there are other women you're close to. You can't take them all in. I understand. Forgive me. You're tired of me. No, it's all right. I'm suffering from jealousy. Of course, you are a doctor and can't avoid women. I understand. How's it there? Arina Nikolaevna is crying, and Pyotr Nikolaevich is having an asthma attack. Maybe I should give them both sedative drops. There you go. Merci bien. What sweet flowers. Give me those flowers. Give them to me. It's so strange to see a famous actress cry and over nothing. And isn't it strange, too, that a famous author, a celebrity, the newspapers all write about him, his portraits are for sale. He is translated into foreign languages, and he spends the entire day fishing and is happy when he's caught a couple of fish. I used to think that famous people were proud and unapproachable, and that they loathed the crowd and used their fame and the glory of their name to get back at people for worshipping blue blood and wealth. But here they cry, fish, play cards, laugh, and get upset just like the rest of us. Are you alone here? Yes. What does this mean? I had the dishonor today to kill the seagull. I lay it at your feet. What's going on with you? Soon I'll kill myself the same way. I don't recognize you. Yes, but that's after I stop recognizing you. You've changed toward me. Your look is cold now. My presence makes you uncomfortable. Lately, you've become irritable. You express yourself in a way that's impossible to understand with symbols. And the seagull is probably a symbol, but I am sorry, I don't understand. I'm too ordinary to understand you. It all began the evening my play flopped so stupidly. Women don't forgive failure. I burnt it to the last page. If you only knew how miserable I am. Your coldness toward me is terrifying beyond belief. It is as if I suddenly woke up to see this lake dried up or vanished into the ground. You just said that you were too ordinary to understand me. Oh, but what's there to understand? They didn't like my play. You loathe my inspiration. You already think me a mediocrity, a nothing, one of many. I understood it all too well. It's like a nail in my head. To hell with it and my pride, which is sucking my blood, sucking it out like a viper. Here comes a true talent, striding like Hamlet and with a book too. Words, words, words. The sun hasn't even come close to you, but you're smiling already. Your gaze is melting in his rays. I don't want to disturb you. Takes takes snuff and drinks vodka, always in black. A school teacher loves her. Hello, Boris Alexeyevich. Hello. Due to an unexpected turn of events, it seems that we are leaving today. You and I will probably never see each other again. That's too bad. It's not very often that I get to meet young women, young and pretty. I already forgot and have trouble imagining clearly what Juana feels at 18, 19, and that's why in my stories, young girls don't ring true. I like to be in your place for an hour to find out what you're thinking and what kind of a thingy you really are. I like to be in your place. What for? To understand how a famous and talented writer feels. How does fame feel? How does it feel to be famous? How? Probably not at all. Never thought about it. It's one of two things. Either you're exaggerating my fame or it just doesn't feel like anything. And if you're reading about yourself in the newspapers, if you're praising me, it is nice. If they're chewing me out, I'm in a bad mood for 2 days. Wonderful world. If you only knew how I envy you. People's lots are so different. Some can barely eke out their boring and imperceptible existence, all of them alike, all unhappy. The others, in turn, like you, for example, you're one in a million, are destined to live an interesting, bright life, full of meaning. You are happy. Me? Hmm. You're talking about fame and happiness, about a bright and interesting life, but for me, all these nice words, forgive me, are just like fruit jelly, which I don't eat. You're very young and very kind. Your life's so beautiful. What's so good about it? I must go now and write. I'm sorry, I have to go. You've just stepped on my most sore spot, as they say. I'm getting upset and a little angry. Well then, let's talk about it. Let's talk about my bright and beautiful life. Well, where should we start? There are things like invasive notions. When a person, day and night, thinks about something, for instance, always about the moon. I'm such a moon too. Day and night, I'm obsessed by one recurring thought. I must write. I must write. I must write. The moment I finish a tale, I must write, for some reason, write another one, then a third, and after the third, a fourth one. I'm writing nonstop, but like a traveler switching horses midway, and I can't do otherwise. So what's so bright and beautiful about it, I ask you? Oh, this wild life. I'm with you here, nervous, and yet, the whole time I remember that unfinished tale is waiting for me. I see here a cloud shaped like a grand piano, and I'm thinking that I must mention somewhere in the story that a cloud floated by shaped like a grand piano. I smell lilac. Quickly I make a mental note of it. A cloying smell, a color worn by widows, to mention it when describing a summer evening. I clutch onto every word and phrase that you and I say, and hurry to lock up all these words and phrases in my literary stockroom. May come in handy. When I finish work, I run to the theater or go fishing to relax supposedly, but no, a cast iron cannonball, a new plot. It's already rolling around my head. I long to get back to my desk. I must hurry to write and write again, and it's always like this, always, and I can't leave myself alone. I feel that I'm devouring my own life and that for the honey, which I give away to someone out there. I'm collecting pollen from my own best flowers, pulling out the flowers themselves and trampling on the roots. Don't you think I'm crazy? Would you say that my relatives and friends treat me like they would a sane person? What are you writing nowadays? What will you present us with next? It's always the same thing, and it seems that all this attention from friends, their praise and admiration, is all a lie. They lie to me like to a sick person, and sometimes I'm afraid that they're about to sneak up on me and grab me from behind and take me like Prussian to an insane asylum. And during those years, my best years, when I was young and just starting out, writing was sheer torture. Small time writer, especially when it's not going well, sees himself as awkward and clumsy, superfluous. He's on edge and his nerves are strained. He's drawn to wander among the literary and artistic types, unrecognized and unnoticed, afraid to look them directly and boldly in the eyes, like a compulsive gambler who has no money. I didn't see my reader, but for some reason I imagined him unfriendly, distrustful. I feared the public, it scared me. Whenever I had to stage my new play, it seemed to me each time that the dark haired ones were hostile and the fair haired ones coldly indifferent. Oh, how awful. What a torture it was. But inspiration and the creative process itself, don't they offer sublime and happy moments? Yes, when I'm writing, it's nice. Reading the proofs is nice, too, but as soon as it gets published, I can't stand it, and I already see that it's not it, mistake, and that it shouldn't have been written at all, and I'm annoyed and feeling dreadful. Then the public reads it. Yes, it's nice and well written. It's a nice and able writer, very nice, but a far cry from Tolstoy, or it's a wonderful work, but Turgenev's Fathers and Sons is better. Until the day I die, I'll be a nice and able writer, nice and able, nothing more. And when I die, friends will say, as they walk past my grave, here rests Trigorin. He was a good writer, but not as good as Turgenev. I'm sorry, but I don't understand you. You've simply been spoiled by success. What success? I never liked myself. I don't like myself as a writer. The worst thing is that I'm in this daze and I often don't know what I'm writing. I love this water, the trees, and the sky. I feel nature. It stirs passion inside me and an uncomfortable desire to write, but I'm not just a landscape painter, I'm a citizen too. I love my homeland, my people. I feel that if I'm a writer, I must speak about the people, their suffering, about their future, about science, human rights, and so on and so forth. And I speak about everything. I hurry, and everybody is urging me on all sides, getting upset with me. And I dart from side to side like a fox, exhausted by a pack of hounds, seeing that life and science are advancing farther and farther, and I keep falling more and more behind like a peasant who has missed his train. In the end, I feel that I can only paint landscapes, and that as far as everything else is concerned, I'm a fraud through and through. You're overworked, and you don't have the time or desire to recognize your own significance, even if you are not pleased with yourself. To others, you are famous and brilliant. If I were a writer like you, I would give my life to the crowd, keeping in mind, though, that their happiness is in rising up to me, and they would pull me in a chariot. Sure, chariot, like Agamemnon or something. For the joy of being a writer or an actress, I'd put up with a lack of sympathy from my family and friends, hardship, disappointment. I'd live on rye bread alone in a garret, suffer from not liking myself, realize my imperfections, but in return, I demand fame, real, dazzling fame. My head is spinning. Someone's calling me. To pack, most likely, but I don't feel like leaving. Heavenly sight, really beautiful. Did you see the house with an orchard across the lake? Yes. That's my late mother's estate. I was born there. I've spent my whole life by the lake, and I know every islet on it. It's so lovely there. What's this? Seagull. Konstantin Gavrilich killed it. A beautiful bird. No, I certainly don't feel like leaving. Why don't you talk Irina Nikolaevna into staying? What are you writing? Just jotting a few things. I had an idea. The idea for a short story. A young girl, like you, has lived by the lake since childhood. She loves the lake like a seagull and is happy and free like a seagull. But a man happened to come by, saw her, and for lack of anything better to do, destroyed her, like the seagull here. Boris Alexeyevich, where are you? Coming. What is it? We're staying. I'm dreaming.